Hi, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Dragon's Kin by Anne McCaffrey and Todd McCaffrey, her son. First, before I get into the story, if you have any comments below about what you think of the series or any memories that you have of reading the series. I mean, I've yet to get to really the older written books yet. But if you have any memories on this series that it brings back, leave it down below. I'd love to do a discussion thread, just no spoilers, please. And we can have a little discussion thread going. So again, this is Dragon's Kin by Anne and Todd McCaffrey. Todd McCaffrey is her son. This is the first book that she wrote with him. He ended up writing some on his own. I don't know how those are yet. I haven't gotten there. But to set this book up requires a little bit of a backstory, going back to Dragon's Eye, the first chronological book, where they land on Pern, and thread starts to fall, and they are looking to bioengineer the dragons, and the scientist Kitty Ping, who I don't know where she got the name from, but she was the one that had the success with the dragons. That they were able to, they had the two stomachs, the stomach that they ate regular, and then the second stomach was where they chewed the charcoal rock, and that's where they would blow the fire to kill the thread. Her daughter Windblossom tried to refine the dragons and ended up failing, technically. These were considered to be smaller, more muscular, ugly looking with big eyes. But what they found was that these things could see in the dark. And they called them watchwears. They were used a lot in the mines. So that's kind of where this book takes place. It's not so much about the dragons; it's about the watchwears and how the lore was lost, and very little was known about them. And the main character, Kindon, his dad, is a watchwear handler in the mines, and we learn a lot, really, about the watchwears and the connections that they have between the dragons. And it's not a story that has a whole lot of action. It's not going to be something that's going to be okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? But the one thing that it does have is it has a lot of likable characters. Kindon, I think, is a very likable character. Nuella is another one. Zendon is another one. Tarek is the one that you kind of root against, and we don't know what his fate is at the end of this book, but he's the one that he's always complaining, he's always moping and saying everything's a waste, the watchwears are a waste, any kind of added protection that you put in the mines are a waste. And what they're trying to do is, Nadalon is trying to make his camp into a hole, and he has to prove that, one, they can get enough coal to make it, to turn it into a hole. Otherwise, it will just be a camp. So that's what they're trying to do, and it seems like Tarek is trying to hold that back. Tarek is Nadalon's uncle, and it seems like he's trying to hold that back, and we learn that Tarek had his own camp, his own mine that failed, and that maybe this is out of jealousy, and he wants to see his nephew fail the way he did. Hard to say, but because we don't really get into the mind of Tarek, we just know about, we learn about his past a little bit. We also learn about some of the new different things, the new different positions, and the way society is set up now on Pern, come about 500 years after landing. You still have, like, your apprentices and your journeymen and your masters, but now you have different, you have minors, and obviously you have the were leaders, the dragon, or the hold lords. Then there's, you know, minors, master miner, master harper. Harpers are kind of in charge of, like, the history and songs and different instruments and things like that. And that's where it seems like Kindon is going. Is that he's going to be a harper. Nuella, I'm not going to give. I don't want to give too much away, because if you plan on reading this, I don't want to give away to the point where it's just like, okay, well, why am I even going to be reading this? But the way that the society is set up, and I mean, we're really limited to this camp, and we do get some dragon riders. We do see some of them. One from the Telgar Weir is just, he's kind of like smug on himself and thinks that, him and his dragon shouldn't have to do any kind of transport under any circumstances. So then, there's dragon leader Mtal, who comes from Benenweir and has, owes some things to Master Zist, the Master Harper in the camp. And he comes and he helps out. And we learn between the Dragon Riders, Kindon, and Nuella, they begin to learn about the Watchwares and the connections that they have to the dragons, since they are kin to them. And that's where the dragon's kin comes in. It's not so much about the dragons and the dragon and the dragon weirs. It's more about the Watchwares and the Watchweir handlers and how they see and what they see. So that's really what this book is about. Now, where we go from here, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes from here. Thread at this point is, I think, about 19 turns or 19 years away from starting up again. So it's going to be a while. The story takes place mostly during the cold, during the winter. But it kind of spans maybe about almost a year or so, in terms of a timeline. I liked the book. I thought it was good. I thought the story was good. Considering that it's the first one that Todd got in on. I was kind of wondering how it would be, because I'll say this when I get to the ones that just he wrote. I talked to a guy at our local Friends of library, and he said that Todd's writing was atrocious. His words, not mine. I haven't read just one of his solo books yet, so I don't know. But this one, I thought it was good. The story was simple. It was straightforward, not nothing too complicated. It was a page turner, not a ton going on. Like I said, there's not really a lot of action. Like where the Dragon Riders are taking on Thread. Just more of learning, regaining the lore on the Watchwares and the background into the characters and this camp that might become a whole. We don't know. There are some action scenes, though they're not played up really, maybe as much as they could be. But overall, I gave it 5 stars on Goodread. Some people might think it's a bit too generous, but I gave it 5 stars. I like it. So far, I've liked every book that I've read in this series. I'm going chronologically. This was book number 5. And in the Pern series, this was book 16, I think, in terms of like publishing. So it kind of shows you where the chronological bits, how it differs. Book 5 compared to book 16. But I would recommend it. I recommend the series. I think it's really good. So yeah, 5 stars on Goodreads, and as I say, as always, please like, subscribe. Helps me out a lot. Turn on the notifications. Lets you know when I get new videos up, new books, the books read, and new videos and reviews up. Also, again, leave your comments below if you have any memories of this or thoughts on the series, or your Goodreads name if you want to hook up on there and see what each other is reading and make suggestions. Suggestions that you think I might want to read. Leave them down below. I always respond. I love hearing from you. And as always, keep YouTube literate. And until next time, God bless.